Hey everybody, what's going on? Eric here, and you are looking at the only Epiphone that I have. This is the Epiphone Les Paul Tommy Thayer signature White Lightning guitar. And the reason why it's on the bench is because a couple of things I want to kind of do. I said in the last video, there's a lot of other YouTubers out there that have made videos about either Epiphone, either ESP, either Ibanez, Gibson, and the quality of the guitars. I did a video of this a long time ago, kind of explaining some of the things that I did with a lot of the eBay guitars that I bought quite a few years ago. And one of the first things that I would do with an eBay guitar that I purchased was check out the electronics. And most of the time there was crap inside both cavities, or one cavity, or whatever. And that shit can get inside your volume control, tone control, your switches, whatever. But there's crap inside there. It could interfere with how the guitar functions. So, picking up a can of this shit here, which is not as strong as using an air compressor. So the PSI pressure, whatever you want to call it, that comes out of this thing isn't as rough on parts, because you really don't want to hit, say you got a computer or something, you bring it in your garage, you got an air compressor, you want to tone down the air pressure on your compressor, otherwise you could damage some of the parts that are on your computer. Well, you can possibly do the same thing with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crack this fucker open, and I'm going to do this to several guitars. Kind of show something here. Now, I said this is the Epiphone White Lightning, and don't think I've ever taken the covers off of this thing to see what was on the inside of it. Done it with a lot of other guitars. I know when I got the SG, it's in one of my videos, I took the cover plate off for the controls, and it was pretty clean in there. I gotta say, it was not too bad. But I'm gonna go with this one first, and I want to show some of the shit that you might find in some of these guitars, and the quality of what you're going to see. Now, this is the Tommy Thayer White Lightning guitar. I don't think it's real fancy as far as guitar goes. Excuse me. Now, my last channel, if you guys have followed me on my last channel, you guys know that I've done a lot of repairs. I've fixed a lot of guitars. I replaced switches, replaced pots, replaced this, replaced that. I mean, I've done a lot of shit with guitars, and so they're not anything new to me. And my past history fixing TVs, VCRs, tape decks, CD players, stereo receivers, replacement speakers. I've reconed speakers. One way I found to take these fuckers off real easy: get a piece of tape. Bingo. Alright, so I don't think I've ever been inside this fucker or showed inside this fucker, but I'm going to show you now. You see those little particles inside there? You know what that shit is? That's fucking sawdust. So move it around and fucking take this shit out. Looks like some of the sawdust is stuck to the shielding paint that they put inside of here. So I'm not going to really loosen too much of it up, but I do want to get a lot of it out. And of course, that shielding paint leaves black shit on your fingers. Be careful, because if you touch something, it'll go right onto that. So I blew it out, cleaned it out. One thing you want to do, possibly if you can, if you have two hands, like right now I do not, so I'm going to end up pausing the video and do this, is switch the switch back and forth and blow it out at the same time. That will get particles that may have gotten to the switch out of the switch. So I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. Blew out the switch and switched the switch at the same time. So, and then here's another thing. Here's the back. Here's the front, because that's where I end up taking the tape and getting it. Come on, focus, you bastard. Alright. Focus. There you go. See that crap that's on there? Fucking sawdust. Wipe down my shirt a little bit. Sawdust gone. Now, on all used guitars that I bought, that I purchased, and I have to put this back on, I've always done this. I've always cleaned out the cavities, because they're old guitars. You don't know who's been in there. You don't know who's done what. Not a brand new guitar. This guitar was purchased brand new. Yes, it is an Epiphone. So maybe the quality is not as good as certain other brand names, but I did a comparison on Epiphone and Gibson when I got my Les Paul. My Gibson Les Paul, that is. And the quality and the finish of the Gibson is kind of shit. A lot of orange peel. A lot of color bleed into binding. Binding didn't look like a cream color. It looked more like a pink. And Epiphone did a better job at polishing, buffing out their finishes and everything else. So I'm not saying Gibson is bad. I'm just saying they lack in quality. Alright, so let's go into the cavity for the controls. Same thing. Looking for the same shit. And I guarantee you'll find it. Look at the back cover. There's probably not even fucking any shielding on the back cover of this thing. Even though they shielded the cavity itself, they may not have shielded the back cover. And of course they didn't. And you can kind of see, focus, a little bit of particles on there. Some wood shavings. Cleaned it off. See if I can put some light on the subject. Bingo. Inside here, it's not too bad. Do see a little bit of particles. Not too much. So it kind of makes you wonder what's underneath the pickups, you know. So I'm going to take and kind of just lightly squirt some air in there. Because you don't want to force these particles into your pots. So if you notice there was some shit over here, now it's gone. Alright, so I'm going to put the cover back on this thing. I don't think you really need to watch that, so I'll be right back. Oh, what do we have here? We have the Gibson Les Paul. Traditional. See, focus. Focus, you fucknut. Yes. Now, this is the one that I've been having a problem with, or had a problem with, that fucked me up on that goddamn video. Even if I would have made a mistake, at least it would have been there that I fucking tried. And I am going to try. And I am trying. Haven't been really playing too much, but then again, I've been working on that puppy over there a lot more. So I started 2 o'clock in the morning. Finally got myself worked up to fucking go to sleep. Now, first thing I want to show what Gibson does. Gibson gives you a fucking photograph of your guitar. And if I can get this not to glare and look halfway decent in this camera, that'll be fucking awesome, because it's going to show a lot of shit. Now if I zoom in a little bit, focus on that motherfucker. Alright, now guitar looks nice and shiny. That's what this guitar is supposed to be. If you look where this guy put his water bottle, and the amount of fucking dust that is on top of whatever that stack is that he has where his water bottle is, that's all fucking dust. You can even see on the keyboard of his laptop or computer or whatever that is, that there's dust on the fucking keyboard. All right, and you know, this is something that Gibson does, and they kind of show you a photo of your guitar and their checklist of what they're doing to the guitar as they set the guitar up. Final stages, yeah, yippee. Floor don't look too bad. Looks like they kind of sweep it up a little bit, but you know, the amount of dust where his personal shit is, water bottle, whatever, you know, little slight of air movement or whatever, that dust is going to be all over everything. And what does dust do to a finish of a vehicle if you rub a fucking rag on it? Scratches the shit out of it. So that's that. I got another one of those to show. I think it's a lot worse than what this one is. So here is the Les Paul. Now, I've already taken this cover off once. Let's make it twice. Gotta be careful with these screws. If you start cross-threading them when you put them back on, they will strip out. If you over-tighten them, they will strip out. And you're either going to be re-drilling a new set of holes, or you are going to be filling with a toothpick or something, and then putting a new screw hole in that place. Now, again, easy way to take off these covers. Bam! Now, if you see this cover here, no dust. No, nothing is on it. Why? Because I cleaned it already. Inside of here, it's been blown out. Focus your fucker. And I've sprayed some deoxit inside of there already. And the switch is working fucking fine. Unlike how it failed on me when I was fucking using it to play a song. Alright, so I'm going to put that cover back on. Not much to look at. It's already been blown out and deoxit inside there. And again, as I was blowing out the cavity, flipping the switch back and forth to remove any particles or anything that might have gotten in between. And I tell you what, the finish inside, you saw the finish inside of the Epiphone. You see the finish inside of the goddamn Gibson, looks like shit. Even though Epiphone fucking took their time and shielded with the shielding paint. Not a big deal. Now on this one here, I don't think I had the cover off, but I did have the cover off the controls on the SG. So what I'm going to do is remove this fucking cover. And if there was shit in there, so what kind of shit's in here? And again, makes you wonder what's under the pickups. Now, like I said, buying guitars off of eBay and shit like that, something I've always done was take the fucking, all these covers off and blow it out, clean the pots, everything, you know, old shit. You don't know what's been done to it, how it's been beat up, if it's been beat up. Now, with the Epiphone, there was shielding paint inside. Not really any shielding tape on the back cover, but I don't know how easy that one's going to be able to get off because I haven't had it off. Ah, there you go. So, there are some particles around the edges that could be from the buffing material that they use, but here we go. Here is the inside of the Epiphone Traditional. Focus a little bit better, you bastard. So you can kind of see it's not bad, sort of say. You know, looks like there's dust on the sides over here, but it's just rough wood. Well, a little bit. There is some fucking wood chips, wood particles inside there. But no shielding at all. They do have the plate that everything's mounted to. Not too bad. So what I'm going to do is I want to try something here, and hopefully, maybe, possibly, you see something come out of it. So let me try to get a good focus, get my hand out of the way of the camera. Oh, look at that. See the dust coming out of there? Particles popping up all over the fucking place. So yeah, that switch can possibly fail because of fucking crap inside there, not necessarily being that the switch is bad. Alright. So hopefully I didn't blow too much shit inside the pots. Pot openings look like they're pretty tight to begin with. So I'm putting the cover back on number 2. The Gibson Les Paul Traditional. 2016, I believe this one is. Yeah. That's what it says on the headstock. So there's a possibility right there of what could have happened. And in my case, did fucking happen. Oh, bam. Looky here. Here is the 2016. This is the SG Gibson. It's got that fucking tuner on there. Tuner works alright. I don't mind it too much. It's alright. But, again, Gibson gives you photos of your guitar when it's being worked on. Now, I want to show you something with this one, okay? And I hope to God you guys can fucking see it. Let me see if I can get this to focus in real good. Alright, number one thing. You look at the amplifier. Focus. The amount of fucking dirt and dust on the ledge where the controls are. Alright? The fucking screen for the speaker cover, the speaker grill, that's got a nice coating of fucking dust on it. And you want to see something else that looks really cool when you're having a fucking open cavity and a guitar and shit like that? A fan. What's that going to do? Oh, by the way, look at the fucking power strip. The amount of dust that's on the fucking power strip over there. That fan is going to be blowing shit around, and it's going to get into your fucking guitar after they get done putting it together, if he has that fan on. And, yeah. So this is the photo of my SG as it was at Gibson. I mean, hell, you can even see the goddamn dust on the patch cord. And I'm not shitting you. I get this to fucking focus up close. If I back off the photo and get close to it. Yeah, this is not letting me get that close of a photo. You can see the dust on the goddamn patch cord. I mean, look at this, seriously. Gibson, clean up your workspace as your fucking final assembly goes. That way shit won't happen. Now, I've had the cover off this puppy before, and it really wasn't too much of a big deal. So a lot of you guys who buy Gibsons and shit like that, and you get these type of photos, look at the photo. Look at the workspace that these guys are working with as far as cleanliness. So I've had this one off before. And it really wasn't too much of a big deal. It's halfway decent, but since I've been using it, moving it, playing around with it and shit like that, that can loosen up crap. That might be where the pickup cavities are. And, well, they use some long screws for this shit. And, make its way down the channel to the controls. I haven't had this thing open in a long time, basically since I got it. So let's see what this looks like. Alright, now, again, piece of tape. Lift off the cover pretty good. Yeah, didn't lift it off very well, but oh well. So cover inside here, not too bad, it's pretty clean. And, do I got some light on this in here or what? What the fuck? Alright, focus you bastard. No shielding at all, but does not look bad at all as far as dust particles. I don't see too many in the nooks and crannies of the electronics. And where your switch is right here, I'm not too crazy the way that plug looks being crooked like that, because these wires are pulling. But looks all right. Don't look too bad. Again, I've had this open before to show you guys when I first got it what it looked like on the inside. And again, not too bad, not too shabby. And this is a 2016 SG as well. Oh, sure, now the fucking shit brightens up. They use different screws on this one, that's for sure. I'm going to be careful because, like I said, you don't want to cross thread. Finger turn first. And then go ahead and drive them in. I like these jeweler screwdrivers because ends of them turn, so when it's sitting in the palm of your hand, you can have spinning them. Now the quality on this thing, I have to say, is pretty damn good. All right, there is no orange peel on this body, neck, any nooks and crannies like there is on the Les Paul. The Les Paul has a lot of orange peel, which I've showed in a past video that's on this channel right now, of how the orange peel compared to a Epiphone is. And this one here, I have to say, is pretty damn nice as far as finish goes. A little dusty right now. You know, the finish around the edges over here are really nice. Other than my fingerprints, I didn't really clean this thing up before I put it away. But all in all, it's not a bad guitar. Other than that tuner kind of giving you a little bit of a weight problem, and Gibson deciding to move the strap lock one here and in your normal spot one here, thinking that that was going to change things around compared to being back here to lock your strap on, and it still does a nose dive, neck dive, whatever you want to call it. So let's go to get another guitar. Well, well, well. What do we have here? This is the new Ibanez that I just got not too long ago. And we're going to pop some covers off of it. So again, now this one here, I haven't done shit to. This was bought at the music store. The music store is pretty damn good as far as setups go. And I had no need to have my nose in here because it's a new guitar. So, knowing what I know now and knowing what I see now as far as new guitars go, might be a wise idea to kind of, in order so you don't have problems, maybe clean out these areas. There's a little bit of air. Oh, that cover looks like it's tightly on there. So let me see if I can get some more. Where did I put my fucking tape at? Well, when they routed out that cover, they routed it to where it fits pretty tight around the edges. And I gotta say, it actually looks nice that way. So I have a piece of tape here. Oh boy. Airtight. Not a big deal. Let's see, where the hell are they? No, not that drawer. They are in this drawer. That's where these can come in handy. Stick it in a hole. Wow. I guess Ibanez don't want you in their shit. They really kind of... Oh, there we go. Alright, so we're in. Ooh, shilling tape. And I get the focus. There's not a bunch of crap all over it. And focus. Not a lot of crap in here either. It's pretty damn clean. It's not too bad at all. Not too bad at all. Do see a little bit of dust inside there. A little bit around this area right here. So I'm going to kind of let's see if I can do the same thing here. Focus. A little bit of particles came flying out. So I'm going to put the cover back on and go to the next one. This is for the output jack, so I'm not really too concerned about it. But the rest of this shit I kind of am. Let's go to another guitar. Alright, so here is the guitar that I guess some of you guys are getting confused about as far as me playing this in the Sweet Leaf. This guitar I used as an example because it's a brand new guitar that my friend sent me, and the switch is no good on it. So here's the LTD, a little dusty, a little dirty, because this was my go-to guitar. I played this thing a lot, flipped that fucking switch a lot. Switch is starting to fail. Now I have done nothing to this guitar besides put a roller bridge on this. Now, I know you guys are going to sit there and say, well, you're stupid because you are putting compressed air in a cavity where there are volume tone pots and whatnot, and you're forcing air into those pots. No, I'm not. I'm actually kind of staying away from the pots, and I'm not forcing any air because you can hear the air pressure that's coming out of there is not much. Just enough to get rid of some of the shit that's inside of the cavity. So now we flip me over. I have done nothing to go inside this cover. What you see here will be the first time that I see what's inside there. Dun, 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 dun. I still have the plastic over the fucking cover. Now this is the shit that you're going to see in these guitars that could and can make the electronics of these guitars fail. And I might be the only fucking one who has done a video about this to show it. Do I have any sticky left on here? Yeah. But not enough sticky to pull it off. So I go where the screw hole is, grab a hold of plastic, and tilt it a little bit until it pops up. Now, I can remove it. Alright, so here's the inside of the cavity for this guy. Well, I can't claim that it's dirt and dust that fucked the switch up on this thing, because there really isn't any, and very minimal particles on the inside of the cover, since static and everything likes to make dust and shit stick to it. So on this guitar here is a switching problem, and they heat shrink some wiring over to the switch, which is not a bad idea. Everything looks pretty good inside of there, but I can either take the switch apart, check the resistance, and I don't mean by electronics, I mean by how the plates move from side to side as the switch is being moved, because there might be they might have gotten weak. Take a piece of 600 grit or 800 grit sandpaper and clean the connections between each terminal. Put it back together, hit it with a little bit of deoxit with a little bit of the lubricant, and it'll work fucking fine. Done it plenty of times. You don't have to go out and spend the money to replace the switch. A little bit of dust from that corner over there. This compartment looks pretty fucking clean. And being black with the shielding paint inside there, you would be able to see particles and shit on that real easily. So I'm going to go screw this thing together, and I'm going to get another one. Yay. Alright, so what do we have here? We have my Schecter Hellraiser, which is another brand new guitar that I have not done any modifications to or anything else. This is still factory, and I have not opened, other than to replace the battery, I have not opened this cover. So your first time will be my first time for this guitar. Boy, I put a lot of screws in their covers. Quality, right? Quality, I tell you, quality. Be careful, don't want to scratch the finish, even though it's on a back plate. I left the plastic on this one too. That sounds like it might pop off pretty easy. Tape. Nope. Little hook. Here we go. Now what do we have here? Not too bad. Pretty clean. Not bad at all. What do we have in here? Let's focus, you bastard. Alright, for one, we have an open switch. Not that big of a deal, but shit can get inside this switch a lot easier than it can in the other three-way toggles. It does not look bad in here as far as what you can see for particles, but only time will tell. And I'm going to just skim the air over the top of this. If you notice, the particles jump out back here. More particles. And again, I'm not using a lot of air, so I'm not forcing anything into the pots or controls of this thing. But there you have it. Looked pretty clean, but then again, some shit fucking flew out of there. That is the shit that could fuck up your guitar as far as playing. So all you need is to get one little wood chip, one little particle in the switch, in your pot. You know, these are not made in like clean rooms and stuff like that. You know, this is kind of out in the open with the next step or phase of whatever they're doing when putting the guitar together. But the motherfucker, before assembly, I mean, really took the time to blow out all the dust that could be trapped in all the holes where they have the wiring going through. I mean, they took their time. It could have been a lot better. So this is my point to all you little pricks out there who are keyboard warriors, who keep sending me messages about this shit. This can possibly happen. Every guitar that I purchased, focus a little bit, every guitar that I purchased off of eBay that was purchased used was a lot worse than what I've been seeing out of these. These are new guitars that I'm showing. I don't have too many used guitars that I haven't modified and already cleaned out the bullshit on the inside of these, because that's something that I normally would do right away. And in a past video on my old channel that's been deleted, it's one of the things I mentioned about with buying used guitars. You don't use a lot of air pressure, just enough to move the particles, not enough to force the particles into corners or into any of the electronics. So I do know a little bit about switches. I do know a little bit about pots. I do know a little bit about capacitors, resistors, diodes, shit like that. Why? Because I've been fixing and replacing parts on shit like that all my fucking life. Plus the car audio shit. So, yeah, okay, whatever. That's the end of this story. I'm sticking to it. Believe it or not. That'll be the title. Believe it or not. Goodbye.